Welcome back to Warthon and welcome aboard the top-end jet for the Japanese, the 9.0 F-86F-40 Sabre. And this Japanese jet is actually a jet that I like. Not just because it's fully upgraded, thanks to Gaijin, big shout out to you guys, to which will come in a moment, but also because it simply performs. You know, it just can do the job. I have advantages and disadvantages. I can somewhat avoid the disadvantages and somewhat use the advantages. Yes, I am actually flying a jet that I kind of like and don't think is under or overpowered. Yeah, you know, it's a really dumb comment if I say it, but it is like it is. With 9.0, you're always top tier. Simple as that. Now, you really don't face too many 8.0 jets because nobody flies them, and usually there are no threat if you fly your plane correctly. Except some of the rocket-powered jets that really can surprise you if you don't pay attention, like for example the German jet-powered and rocket-powered engines such as the Me-262C variants and the Me-163 and the Japanese Ki-200, but you face them just in a mixed match. So, I really like the plane, especially the look of it, the shape of it, and somewhat the performance. And it's expensive. Oh boy, is it expensive. The plane to purchase costs 2 million silver lines. Now, some of you might be aware of how many silver lines I have, but it was even very expensive for me and I thought twice if I should buy it or not. Ultimately, I bought it and I put it in a crew, but I didn't purchase the expert qualification because then I would have dropped under 100 million silver lines, which is an iron reserve. I know that sounds cocky and arrogant and whatnot, but you know, I really have to fight really to maintain those 100 million silver lines. In the current patches, so many additions to the game, new nations, new tech trees, whatever. It's actually pretty expensive. The last year I spent a lot of silver lines. So this plane by default has 650 caliber machine guns and 3 versions with 1800 rounds. I have no idea what just happened there. Did I really misaim that hard, or was this kind of a ghost plane? Doesn't matter, because then I did this. I pulled and pulled and pulled, a little roll, and suddenly my wings snapped. And this is the lack of experience, and also something that the plane doesn't really forgive you. It can pull 11 Gs, but if you then roll, and I should have remembered this from my earlier experiences, it will rip the wings, and this is not a nice experience. However, the plane is fast. You can break 1100 kilometers at low altitude even without too many diving, you know, and that is really nice. Again, the plane is fully upgraded thanks to Gaijin providing me with some gold needles to purchase the necessary upgrades for this purpose alone. And I played numerous battles. Ignore that Facebook, that was mine. So in the background you see kind of a scene compilation of kills, of fails, of interesting stuff happening throughout the battles that I played. Most times I got, actually all the times I got Korea and Spain. Spain I really begin to despise, and Korea, I think it's a pretty good map, I have to say. And yeah, a bit about the plane. Well, first of all, it has a bit of a Focke-Wulf syndrome with the rolling. It rolls good, but you have somewhat difficulties getting on target. However, unlike a Focke-Wulf, you accelerate, you climb, your firepower is alright, and you know, 50 cals are really good for jet fighting. You know, a high shell density, good damage output. Oh, that was a beautiful kill. And good trajectory, and you know, for 650 caliber machine guns you have the shell density as I mentioned, and you can fire for some good rounds, and you have various different rounds. Even the stealth belt is viable, although I think the ground target belt is a bit better from the pure damage output. But you know, tastes differ, playstyle differ, and so forth. So the plane, unlike a Focke-Wulf, can turn. It's not a dedicated dogfighter, don't get me wrong, but to actually, you know, turn around and re-engage your target is a possibility. You can energy fight, you can dive, you can accelerate, all the good stuff. Your top speed is relatively good with around about 1100 kilometers. even in level flight you can reach it. The plane is fully upgraded, as I mentioned, and it was actually a joy to research the plane with the Japanese planes, and I haven't had something to properly research with Japanese planes for quite some while. Japanese teams, Japanese props, even especially the A6M5 is a really nice plane that is a lot of fun to play, a lot of income, a lot of happy smiles on my face. And I made a video which was called Mixed Match recently, and not a lot of you have watched it, so if you haven't watched it, I highly suggest that you would watch it, because it was you know, a lot of editing, a lot of flying. I kind of edited highlights from fights with A6M50s and also included them in the boring parts of a P47M gameplay. So there is that. And you know, I was really interested how this plane flies. So if you are an experienced jet pilot, obviously you're bored at this point in time. I cannot tell you anything that you might not already know. For all intents and purposes, it is a Saber with a little bit of different flavor as far as I can tell. It seems to be a bit more responsive, a bit more maneuverable, but maybe not as fast as a CL-13. Sometimes they catch me, and you know, I was fully upgraded. Outrunning a CL-13 is not easy. So again, the PR department of Gaijin should get a shout out here, because they actually provided me with the Golden Eagles to get the necessary upgrades. I think I'm just missing the rocket and the bomb upgrade, which you really don't need in a fighter. I was really surprised that I did this, because the last time they actually supported me Golden Eagles wise for you know, presenting you a jet, it ended with quite a hefty rant, if I may recall it. And I guess in reality they were not really amused, but you know, it is a good thing that they actually accept some sort of criticism. If it is viable or not, you know, at least they support me again. So this is a big thumbs up for Gaijin. Yeah, then the lack of experience and the spam of TU4s. In every battle there are TU4s, and it's such a pleasure to shoot them down and send them back to the garage with a big, huge bill. It is really enjoyable to do that. Even if you trade, I think it's just for my personal pleasure. You do not really necessarily have to, you know, purchase this plane, which is expensive, 2 million silver lines, if I mentioned it before. Makes you think twice if you really go for this kind of saber. And you know, there are other sabers at lower, are there at lower battle rating? I'm not quite sure. No, they're all at 9.0 in the American tech tree. The Armament is the same, except on the F2, which is the top end fighter for the Americans, I guess. So yeah, I like the plane, I like somewhat its performance. It sometimes has difficulties to follow my precise instructions, but I guess this is lack of experience, and you actually can make the plane work, and I love that. But the lack of experience also expands to the following questions. When do the wings rip? When do the flaps rip? When to air brake, or if to air brake at all. And you know, I got tips and tricks from various different people that said various different things, this and that, and I should do this and that, and so forth. High speed handling might be an issue sometimes. Again, it's kind of getting used to it. And the jet battles are really fast paced, which is nice if you want to get footage with a limited amount of data or limited amount of recording space, which, you know, I have enough place, but just for the sake of it. But to present you a single battle is just not doable without, you know, having a lot of empty time. Same goes sometimes for props, but usually with props you can talk about what you're doing and so forth. With jet, it's less acting but more reacting, let's put it that way. And again, I think I just have to get used to it when it is likely at which point enemies might arrive. Yeah, that's basically all. What I really despise is Spain as a map. It's just really boring, and again, really Korea seems to shine. Then also how good the plane is in reality compared to its competition, because I don't know how the plane stacks up, you know, in real performance against other jets such as the Hunter, the MiG-17, CL-13, MiG-15 and so forth. Sometimes I can outrun some of them, sometimes I can't. Maybe it's the difference in energy, or they just have better acceleration to the top speed, where then I'm maybe a little bit slower or faster. I don't know, but the plane has its limits, but it also has advantages to counter it. And this is how every jet in the game should be. And yes, I know it sounds stupid if I say things like at 9.0 you're always top tier, but then again, I do not face really that many 8.0 jets, and the few jets that I see at this battle rating of 8.0, they get shot down relatively quickly, or they're playing very passively or hyper aggressively, like for example the German rocket-powered Me-262 or the Me-163s. I think there is a lot to learn for me, but I might do it with this plane, although I didn't purchase the expert qualification because again, it's too expensive for me for the few battles that I thought I would play. But it's interesting how fast the pilot really blacks out, despite having a G-suit and being fully trained for the base crew as good as it is possible to do so. And I think that was a good first impressions. It's not a review, it's just my first impressions at 9.0 with a jet that seems to be competitive but has some flaws, for example the wing ripping. If that is historically accurate, if it is down to the booster that I actually have on this plane, otherwise it wouldn't roll properly, I don't know. Let me know in the comment section, and I might see a bit more top tier jets. So yeah, that's it for me today. So thanks for watching, thanks for listening. Please give this video a like if you did, subscribe if you want to see more, leave your comment in the comment section if you can give me any tips and tricks or advices that you think are worth mentioning, and we'll see each other in the skies of War Thunder.